You hear this term all the time in education, right? Digital competence. But what does that actually mean? How do you get there? Well, today we're going to explore a framework that's less like a strict checklist and more like a roadmap, a real journey for any of us teaching in this digital age.
So what is this roadmap? It's called DigCompEdu, short for the European Framework for the Digital Competence of Educators. The easiest way to think of it is as a shared language, a common ground that breaks down all the essential skills for teaching with technology, not just effectively, but responsibly too.
So how does it break all this down? Well, it all comes down to this number, 6. That's it. The entire framework is built around 6 core areas that, together, cover a teacher's entire professional life in the digital world. Let's dive into what they are.
Here's our game plan. We're going to start with you, the teacher, how you connect and build your own toolkit. Then, we'll zoom into the classroom itself, looking at teaching and assessment. And we'll finish up by shifting our focus to the students, because isn't that what it's all about? Empowering them and getting them ready to be great digital citizens? Let's get started.
First up, the connected teacher. This is all about using digital tools to break down those 4 classroom walls. It's about engaging with a whole world of colleagues and ideas out there for collaboration, for communication, and, for your own professional growth. Now, what's really cool is how this whole thing is framed as a journey. Look at this. You might start out barely using digital tools at all. Then, you get comfortable with basic email. But the real goal is to become strategic, choosing the right tool for the right person. And eventually, you're actually helping to shape your entire school's communication strategy. It's such a clear path from just being a user to becoming a leader.
And it's not just about sending emails. Being a connected teacher also means jumping into online communities to share awesome resources. It means getting brave and experimenting with new digital teaching methods. And it means taking charge of your own development with online courses and webinars. It's really about being a lifelong learner in a world that never stops changing.
Okay, so let's move on to our second area. If the first part was about connecting with people, this one is all about the stuff, the digital resources we use. It's about how we find them, how we create them, and how we share the materials that make our lessons pop.
And this slide lays out that evolution from content consumer to content creator just perfectly. So many of us start by just using what we can find online, right? But as you get more confident, you start making your own stuff. Then you get to the point where you're adapting and tweaking other people's work, and before you know it, you're working with colleagues to build these amazing, complex, interactive resources.
But hang on. A toolkit isn't just about what you can make. It's also about being smart with what you find and how you manage everything. That means being a super sleuth when it comes to selecting good resources and being a really responsible guardian of student data and, of course, copyright.
Okay, Area 3, Tech-Powered Teaching. We've connected with our colleagues, we've built our toolkit. Now for the big one. How do we actually pull all of this off during a lesson? This is where the rubber meets the road, where pedagogy and practice really come together.
And look, you see that same kind of progression here. It starts simple, maybe just using the digital whiteboard. Then you get the hang of juggling student devices and digital content in one lesson. The next level up is designing a whole class session where every digital piece works together towards a single goal. And the absolute peak, that's when you're literally inventing brand new ways to teach in these digital spaces.
And tech-powered teaching is so much more than just instruction. It's about using tools to guide students in the moment, designing projects where they use technology to build something together, and, maybe most importantly, giving them tools like e-portfolios so they can take ownership of their own learning journey.
Let's move on to our fourth area, smarter assessment. This is about taking assessment and transforming it from just a final grade into something dynamic, something that's an ongoing part of the learning process itself, all thanks to digital tools.
I mean, just look at the difference here. It's night and day, isn't it? We go from old school paper tests to fun, interactive quizzes and portfolios. We leave behind slow, manual grading for instant feedback that's packed with data. Instead of one snapshot at the very end, assessment becomes this continuous conversation. We're moving from limited data to real, actionable evidence of how our students are doing. The shift is huge.
So when you boil it down, smarter assessment really stands on these 3 pillars. First, you need a bunch of different strategies in your playbook. Second, you have to actually analyze the data you get from those tools. And third, and this is the most important part, you use that evidence to give better feedback and to plan what you're going to do next.
Now for Area 5, and this one is where the focus shifts completely to the student experience.
Empowering every learner is all about using technology to make the classroom more inclusive, more individualized, and honestly, just more engaging for every single kid.
You can think of it like 3 equal slices of a pie. You've got accessibility and inclusion, making sure everyone can participate. Then you have differentiation and personalization, tailoring the learning to fit individual needs. And finally, active involvement, which is all about turning students from passive listeners into active, creative doers.
So just pause for a second and really think about this. Not all of them, just one. Could you find a tool that lets students go at their own pace? Or maybe one that helps a student with a specific accessibility need? What's just one small step you could take next week?
And that brings us to our final and maybe the most important area of all, creating digital citizens. Because our job isn't just to use technology in our lessons, it's to teach our students how to use it effectively, ethically, and responsibly out in the world.
And that means we have to actively foster this whole range of skills. We have to teach them how to be smart, critical consumers of media online, how to communicate and collaborate safely. We need to encourage them to create their own digital content, guide them towards healthy digital habits, and of course, empower them to solve their own tech problems when they pop up. This quote from the framework itself, wow, it just wraps everything up perfectly. This is the ultimate goal, right? It's not just about using the latest app. It's about becoming a reflective teacher who uses digital evidence to constantly think, talk, and innovate, all to better meet the real needs of every single learner.
So look, this framework provides the map. The technology provides the tools. The only real question left is the one right there on your screen. How are you going to use them to shape the future of learning?